feel about Star Wars Episode 1, or if you feel the pod racing scene was completely pointless and just stopped the movie dead in its tracks, you can't deny how the concept of pod racing seems like it could be very fun and awesome. The classic game Star Wars Episode 1 Racer from the Nintendo 64 really captured this well.
Released in the middle of 1999 for the Nintendo 64 and Windows-based systems, then later for the Game Boy Color, Dreamcast, and Macintosh, the game attempted to capture the exciting speed of racing in the Star Wars universe presented in Episode 1. While the Nintendo 64 was able to add extra textures to the game with the Nintendo 64 expansion pack, due to memory limitations it lost almost all the soundtrack sans one song, and all the cinematics were pre-rendered. The arcade version was also stripped of most of the tracks, though given a much better graphical treatment, as well as having a dual joystick control, and the Game Boy Color version was a 2D racer with a top-down view. The game was well made and nothing hindered the gameplay on the Nintendo 64. The racing was fast and felt very fluid. It felt exactly like you think it would. Very in your face, fast, and it felt like pod racing would be a rather quick way to die. The controls were simple, with one button to accelerate, joystick did all the moving, and a button to brake. You could also adjust the camera with the C buttons or turn the pod on its side to squeeze through tight areas. Lastly, you're able to boost by holding a joystick completely forward and tapping the A button when the meter maxes out, which is pretty touchy. If you don't stay exactly straight, you'll lose your boost. You have a choice of several different racers in the game from the movies. Some you might recognize and some you might not. While you couldn't make a custom racer or pod, you could upgrade and downgrade the pod to your liking, and has a nice amount of customization. The tracks all are interesting, but each competition circuit doesn't offer all new tracks, and instead just expands on the previous tracks. But this expansion of the track does make the game much more challenging each time, and each expansion adds more crazy turns and more paths you can choose from. Some of these paths were just the complete wrong decision, making it very easy for you to crash or just putting you way behind the other racers. After placing in each race in tournament mode, you get rewarded with cash to allow for upgrades to your pod and the next level unlocks. Outside of tournament mode, you also have free play, which just allows you to practice without rewards, a time attack, and multiplayer.
There isn't much else to say. It's a simple yet super fun racing game set in the Star Wars universe. It makes pod racing feel like you would imagine it. Well, at least it fits my imagination. Being on multiple systems, it's not hard to come by, and I've seen both the Dreamcast and Nintendo 64 versions go for about $5 each, and it's well worth the $5. I'll see you next time.
Urban Lugoya!